Hello and welcome to Anti-Social Media. I'm on a quest to find out whether the word gammon is a racial slur because right-wingers think it is. Now, they've never offered any proof to show that it is a racist term other than to say the word racist over and over and over again to anybody who says the word gammon towards them. Now, I have dedicated one whole minute to this in the past. In a video from 2 months ago, I looked at the original definition of gammon, so let's just remind ourselves of that in this 60-second clip. Now, before we go on, let's just say that people recently have been saying that gammon is a very racist word to use against the right wing. First of all, it's not racist. It is normally a white person saying that to another white person, but the white person saying that to the other white person has noticed that the other white person has a very red face because they seem to be very, very angry and very easily offended and very snowflakey about everything. The things that they project onto other people. It's the stuff they do themselves, and thus it gives them a lovely gammony glow about their face, and it's just a description of how angry they look rather than anything to do with their race. People who say, oh yeah, gammon, you can't call people gammon, it's counterproductive, are the same people who spent years calling people soy boys and retards and faggots and all the rest of it because their opinions are slightly different from theirs. It's just one other way for conservative people to say, please stop criticising me. I cannot take your criticism. I can't. And by the way, you're the real snowflakes. So that's the original definition of the insult gammon, which has now changed just slightly to refer to any bigoted person who is overly angry, usually online. And let's be clear, that term is largely used by the quote-unquote leftists around, and it just basically is thrown towards a bigot to make them even more angry than they already are, which is a hilarious thing to do, by the way. That's why we do it, guys. Really, you're going so mad that you're really playing into the stereotype of being a gammon. It's like a dictionary definition coming to life before your eyes. Stop being racist, say the gammon at this point. Guys, you're not listening. You don't have to be white to be a gammon. But how is that possible? You know, red face only really shows up on a white person. It doesn't really show up on a person of colour. First of all, thanks for using the term person of colour, other than the term that you wanted to use. Secondly, the word gammon, like all language, evolves. Let me give you an example. The word woke. Woke as a verb means the past of wake. Then it evolved a bit further as an adjective to mean alert to injustice in society, especially racism and social justice. Originally a term invented by African Americans that went on to be used by all races, and then it was thoroughly overused by all races, and then right wingers noticed it, and then they decided that being alert to injustices such as racism is actually a bad thing for some reason that I just can't put my finger on. So they all became anti-woke. It's weird, isn't it, how people who accuse others of being racist towards them because the word gammon is used tend to be a bit what's the word? Starts with an R, ends with an acist. It's on the tip of my tongue. And then, like the term that came before it, social justice warrior, or SJW for short, the term went from meaning people who want to end injustice to anybody who disagrees with everything I say. In the past, all left-wing people were SJWs. How dare you, you stupid SJW. I should be able to say whatever I want without any pushback whatsoever. It's now become you stupid woke bastard. I should be able to say whatever I want without any pushback whatsoever. Therefore, all lefties are woke before they've even opened their mouths. The BBC is woke because they say it is. Society is woke, trees are woke, the birds in the trees are woke, this glass of fucking squash is woke because it's got a slight pineapple taste to it and I didn't want to buy this one. I bought the wrong one and now it tastes horrible, you woke bastard. So like I say, language evolves. So gammon originally meant a bunch of old white bigoted dudes who appeared on BBC's Question Time getting angry about immigrants or whatever it was this week. That now has evolved to mean all angry bigots regardless of age, race or gender. That is because us lefties, yeah, I'm a lefty, we're about being inclusive and we don't want to miss any of you out from being called gammon. Plus, like your use of the term woke, we're just playing you at your own game. But it's a racist term. You'd never call a black person a gammon, would you? Well, yeah, I would, because it's nothing to do with race. I'll give you a perfect example of someone who is a person of colour who is also gammon. Candice Owens. She gets angry 24/7 about absolutely fuck all. Plus, she's quite bigoted and exists just to keep the far right angry all the fucking time. I'd say that's a perfect description of gammon because, I'll say it again, gammon is not race specific. You just have to be an angry, awful arsehole to be a gammon. Some people who say that gammon is racist, even after all this explanation, will just fixate on the fact that it's only white people whose faces can go red, which isn't entirely accurate, but let's just go with that for now, okay? That's like saying, I'm only racist temporarily. Right? Normally, racism is a full-time thing. If you're racist, right, you're normally racist against a race all the time because they're a certain race. Whereas people only go red in the face due to anger, say it with me, when they're angry. Now, I know gammon are angry a lot, but they're not angry all the fucking time. They do have a fucking day off occasionally. You know, they might go and have a cup of tea and a bit of a sit down, put their feet up, and then get angry about immigrants for no reason, or whatever. You're honestly trying to argue with me that I'm only racist against people who are just so happen to be the same colour as me, except when that colour goes a bit red. What does that even mean? It's a sort of a temporary racism that only comes to the surface, that only bubbles up when your nervous system activates the redness in your face. It's like, it's a bit weird, isn't it? How whenever you're embarrassed and you blush, I don't just suddenly start calling you gammon. It's not even consistent, my racism, is it? Look, to put this argument to bed, this is the argument I've been using on Twitter. And if you're left-wing and you're watching this and you want to use the word gammon and you want to shut someone down, this following thing is what you say. So I'm talking to a right-wing person here. Guys, remember when people used to say that you lot are racist because you hate Muslims? And you come back and say, Islam isn't a race. Well, nor is gammon. It's a mindset. It's not a race. If you're angry 24/7 about nothing, you're gammon. It's as simple as that. In all seriousness, I think people say gammon is racist because, as I hinted to earlier on in this video, they often get called racist themselves for having quite awful views and making those views public. And they just want to sort of flip it around and see what it's like to call someone else a racist, even though their reasons for racism are so flimsy I can destroy them in like a 5-10 minute video. Once again, you're watching the Anti-Social Media YouTube channel. Now, funnily enough, I do have a series of videos on my channel called Gammon Box, where I take the piss out of the latest conservative and far-right fails, of which there are plentiful, aren't they? They're almost a daily occurrence, so do subscribe to get some regular videos from me. Remember that I've got a video out right now about GB News and how it's potentially destined to fail. I'll also link to the video which I included a clip from earlier about the word gammon, which is called Gammon, Flag Shaggers and some decent conservative comedy. In fact, it does have a set from the one and only good conservative comedian working today, Jeff Norcott, a full set from him, just to show that, you know, you guys can be funny on very rare occasions. So do subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you later. Goodbye.